Hey guys, DJ here and welcome back to another beginner's guide video. Today I want to talk about basic gun modifications. This is something that I genuinely found very overwhelming when I first started playing Tarkov. So I want to cover the basics, and we're going to go over the AK-74M and an M4 as examples, and that will give you the foundational understanding that you need to apply to any other gun in the game. As always, if you enjoy the video, the content's useful to you, it would be really amazing if you could hit the subscribe button and like the video, and that way you'll get to know whenever I upload another one, whether it be in this series or something else, and I'll be very grateful for that. Thank you. So let's hop straight in. To start with, you're going to need to know the parts of the gun that can be changed, the effect that they each have, and the cost. I'm not going to get into any science and numbers here. That's something that you'll kind of work out for yourself. There are other videos on YouTube that go into more specific detail, numbers, best builds, that kind of stuff. But it's kind of part of the fun figuring that out, and everyone has their own preference for how they like to build their guns. So what I'll do is just show you basically what each part does, how to find it, and some of the restrictions. With the introduction of the flea market, you no longer have to be a certain trader level in order to buy some parts, but buyer beware, you will end up spending more money this way, and leveling traders is still an essential part of the game. I'm going to give you two basic builds for each gun, a low level build and a money is no object, I want to use the flea market build. So let's start with the AK-74M. We're just going to go all the way down to the bottom, I believe, here, and we're going to buy two of these. Prapor sells the majority of the base AK weapons, so that's where you can find those. So the AK platform has the most modifications available for it in the game. The 74M is actually the best all-round base version of the gun in the 545 caliber category, so it's a really great starting point. So in order to make the gun more usable, I reduce recoil, improve ergonomics, and make it easier to acquire targets using either a red dot or a sight. We'll need to remove and replace parts. Now there are two ways to strip the gun. You can either right click and select the modding option, as I did here. This will bring up the weapon modding screen, or you can double click and manually remove the component parts that way. This is purely personal preference. So let's strip the gun down. I'll actually do the one in each way, so just so you can see. So all you do essentially is just drag and drop, take the stock. We'll take the pistol grip, the handguard, and the compensator off of the front of the gun this way. And then this one we'll do, we'll do modding, and you just select the part and click none and it removes it. So we can do that for the handguard and also the stock. Those parts will then be just sent directly into the first available space in your inventory, as you can see here, and then you can either discard them or sell them depending on, you know, whether you're desperate for the cash or not. Now that we've stripped the gun, we need to replace the parts. As I said before, there are many options, so it's very easy to get overwhelmed, and some of these parts you can get away with leaving the same, but we need to start somewhere, so let's grab some parts. A lot of the AK parts, in fact most of them, will be available from Skier. So let's grab some items. You can, depending on what level you are, specifically select the parts for that level with the trader, and you also have a filter now that reduces down to individual components that he sells. We are going to need at a minimum a handguard that will allow us to attach a foregrip and or a sight and or a laser. So we'll buy one of those. this has, if you double click on it, you can see this has the rails on the top, both sides, and the bottom. So this will suit our needs. The pistol grip here, this is an upgraded AK pistol grip. You can see that the ergonomics are greatly improved. So we'll grab that. We're going to need a sight. The PK06 is my favorite. It's actually a pretty reasonably priced sight, and it's available at level 1 skier, so that's always a good thing. And you will forget stuff, which I will probably do any second. We need a foregrip. It's easy to come back. You can do that. We'll just grab this one. At this point, you know, it's just for demonstration purposes, so it doesn't need to be too fancy. And then we need the stock. Now with the AK stocks, quite often when you change them, you're going to need an adapter. Sometimes finding the right one can be a pain. But what we can do, hopefully this will work, we can go back into our inventory, and the part that we just bought, we can do a linked search on it, and that will list the part, and this is the component that we need, the adapter, in order to be able to fit that to our gun. Be careful, because right now these are on the flea market. They're selling out at the trader very quickly, and on the flea market people are price gouging. So we'll just sort by the cheapest. We'll avoid the premium ones, and we'll find the cheapest one here, 11,000. I think the trader sells them for 4K normally, so prices are a little inflated right now. But that should be all we need. And again, I'll do this two ways, but you can attach the gun, the new parts, either using drag and drop on the inventory screen, or by right click and doing modding and do it that way. The first one will just drag and drop. So in order to fit the stock, we need to put on the adapter. You can either just drag and drop it on there, or you can drag the stock onto the adapter first and do it that way. Pistol grip, handguard, foregrip, and sight. Now I'm missing a couple of things here, a laser and a compensator. If you want to just use the stock one, you can do that. That's here. There are other options, but this is a good start. So from here we've improved a lot of the aspects of the gun. The ergonomics and the recoil is reduced too. So you also have the sight on the front, which will, you know, allow you to be able to acquire targets more easily. So that's a really very basic build, and you know, most of these parts are available at a low level, so hopefully that's a good place for us to start, and then we'll move on and do the more expensive build down below. So in the interest of saving time for the more expensive build, I've bought all the parts in the same way as we did previously. These are all, not all, but a lot of these will be available at higher trader levels, but as I said, you can get them from the flea market. You'll just be paying a bit more. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to do right click modding, and as you can see, we just got the base receiver with the barrel and gas block, and we're just going to gradually build the gun up this way. Let's see, got a 60 round magazine, the pistol grip, we got a PSO scope for range. We're going to put the adapter on here, and then the stock. We are going to put on a charging handle, and the handguard with a gas block. This also has a rail on the top, which we're going to use to put on a canted sight adapter, which you can buy from Peacekeeper rather than Skier. The mount for the red dot and the red dot itself. And then on this particular handguard, there is no rail underneath, so we have a separate rail attachment. This is the shorter one that goes on the back. And there is also a longer one. I mean, sorry, this is an even shorter one that goes on the front. So, foregrip, laser, and then we have a attachment for the silencer, which we'll put on there. And I think that's it for that part. Feel like I'm missing something, but that's a pretty nicely decked out AK. As you can see, we now have options for both range with the scope and with the red dot on the side, and you can switch between those with control left click. Sorry, control right click. So we'll save that. And now, as you can see, these are our two finished builds. If we compare them side by side, you can see that the ergonomics on the cheaper one are higher because it has less things on it. That's not the sciencey answer. The recoil, however, on the one on the left is reduced, not significantly, but enough to make a difference. And obviously with the range on there and the extra 30 rounds in the magazine, you know, all these things make a difference. And it's definitely worth finding a way around the parts and the modding of guns in general. So hopefully for the AK that's helped you out a little bit. Let's move on and do an M4. So we got our M4s here, and as you can see, I've 100% cheated, and I already have a pre-built M4 that I got as part of my New Year's gift from 2017, 2018. This is no longer available, but I reset my account before, and I don't generally use these. So you can see just by looking at this, a lot of the parts are similar to what we had on the AK. Has a canted sight and a Bravo scope for range, 60 round mag, etc. Suppressor, and that's the same suppressor as we put on the AK2. I will go over that in a second, but first let's strip down the stock M4 and just do some basic modifications to it. So we're going to change the pistol grip. We're going to replace the mag. We're going to take the stock off. We'll leave the buffer tube so we can just put a similar stock on there. We're going to take the handguard off, and we're going to take off the compensator. And now you can leave the longer barrel on there, but I actually prefer a shorter barrel on my M4. There is a difference, but it's not really significant enough. And generally, I don't know if people frown upon this, but generally I build my guns to look good rather than to worry too much about the stats. But you know, that's just me. So I'm going to take the barrel off anyway. So we're left with the upper and lower receivers and the buffer tube on there. And we're just going to go ahead and sell these things, and then I'll show you where to find the new ones. All right, so now we're at Peacekeeper. We've got rid of our parts that we removed from the M4, and we're just going to build up a not too crazy version of the M4 that's very usable. So the first thing that we want to do is get the shorter barrel, which is up here. We'll buy that. And then to go on the barrel, we actually need a low profile gas tube that will allow us to put on a different handguard that's available down here. We can just slide that barrel straight on, and the gas tube on top of that. And you can build the gun directly from the trader screen too, which is what we're doing right now. Then I like to use the LVOA handguard. We also need the compensator that will allow us to attach the suppressor. I don't know if I have that. I do have the suppressor unlocked, so we'll grab one of those. Let me just see if we can switch this to modding, if I can find it. Even as someone that plays the game as much as I do, finding things in here is sometimes a little bit challenging. So let's I'll do that in the flea market. I'll show you how to find it in the flea market instead. So we are going to also need a foregrip, but in order to attach the foregrip to this handguard, we also need a rail to do that. I'm going to buy a 4-inch and if I can find it, 6-inch rail to put a laser on the front. We'll buy a laser too. So at the bottom here we have the pistol grip, the longer rail, and I also found the compensator too. So there are main components. I'm almost certainly forgetting something. I am the stock. So we're just going to buy a Mo stock to go on that buffer tube, and on the back of this stock we can actually put a rubber butt pad, and this, if you look at the stats, will reduce the recoil and slightly improve ergonomics. There's better stocks out there. Again, there's many options, a lot of which you can find just by experimenting, and also make use of the linked search function. So for example, if you wanted to find a stock that fits on this buffer tube, you can just right click on the buffer tube and do a linked search, and you'll find basically everything that you need in this list that will attach to that. Once you get more familiar with the guns and the modifications, it will become easier to find those things anyway, but that's a good place to start. Linked search is a very, very useful new function, and you should definitely make use of it. We're going to put the rubber back pad on the stock. We're going to put the compensator on the barrel and the suppressor on that. We're going to put the 6-inch rail on the handguard, and then the 4-inch on the front. Put on the pistol grip, foregrip, and the laser will probably mount on the top, but we can just go in here and drag that to the bottom. And then we need a optic of some description, so we're just going to go back into Peacekeeper, and I'm going to grab this new EOTech with the magnifier on it, which I really like. It's a nice optic. Here it is. It should just fit nicely on the top there. So there you go, 2 M4s. This one obviously has a few more things on it, a few more bells and whistles, but you don't have to spend a silly amount of money in order to build a decent M4. This Obviously it doesn't have a canted sight, but it does have the ability for you to have a zoomed sight and a red dot at the same time, and it has a good enough amount of modifications to reduce recoil and improve ergonomics over the standard version. Whether you put suppressor on it, totally up to you. This is just an example. You can apply these you can apply this to pretty much any gun in the game, so hopefully that's been a useful starting point for any of you that are confused about how exactly you modify a gun and make it a little bit more user friendly. So here we have our finished weapons, and hopefully going through some of that process, even though it wasn't too detailed, I'm hoping that you were able to gain some useful and basic information on modifying and replacing the parts on your gun. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave those in the comments below. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for taking the time to sit and watch this. Hopefully you've learned some interesting things, and this will help you in your journey through Tarkov. I stream on Twitch 5 days a week, twitch.tv/DJQuest. I'm always happy to answer questions in chat or in the comments below if you prefer. Either way, there's more detail in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, have a fantastic week, and I'm out. Peace.